their own brands in Australia.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
can we talk about the importance of these kind of
Initiatives.
encouraging?
Well, Sydney and Australia are a very small fashion market. Even though it's a very big country, the population density is very. There's just not a lot of people in Australia, so the fashion community is fairly small, and there's not a great deal of retailers or buyers that are based in Australia. So yeah, it is very important for emerging designers to have initiatives such as the Mark Prize to really help help build their brands and help kind of expose them to a global audience. I think it's challenging being based in Australia and only relying on the Australian market. I think it's important for all young and emerging designers to really be able to also communicate their brand globally in order to survive and in order to build a successful brand. So I think, it's really important from the start to be thinking internationally rather than just focusing on the Australian market.
Did you always thought about going global? I mean, did you ever felt that you were, I don't know, somehow doomed to be local? Only in Australia?
No, I never really wanted to, I suppose, to be kind of based there or to see myself as just an Australian brand. I always kind of from the start really wanted to compare myself to international brands, and I think doing so really challenges you and really kind of, if you want your brand to be on the world stage, you really do need to compare the product to the best designers in the world, and I think that process is what really pushes you and motivates you and kind of drives you to kind of create the best collection you can create. I was in Australia, living in Australia for the first, really the first like 6.5 years of having my brand, and that was a really important part of building a strong foundation for the business and really learning a lot in those years as well. And since showing in New York, I've been showing in New York like 3 years now, and I've been based there nearly 2 years. So I think that's been a really important step in terms of continuing to move the brand forward, and also for me just continuing to really push myself and expose myself to new suppliers, new ways of working, and really continuing to kind of grow and challenge yourself.
So when you were a student, you had your dreams, you want your own label, etc. But when you started your own brand, I mean, right now, what would you want to know that you didn't know when you were a student? What shocked you, or
I think for me the challenge was really balancing the creativity and the design process with building the business. When I started my brand, it was just me, and I was kind of doing everything myself. I think the rise of online retail, social media as a platform for communication, we might see something. We see so much now, like we see so much detail behind collections, and as they happen, there's a sense of immediacy in terms of like product these days, and I think the consumer now, doesn't really have the patience to wait 6 months for something. We see so many things between the time that something is on the runway to when it's in store, and I think kind of bridging that gap is what the challenge really is.
Yeah. Did you see the new application Kim Kardashian?
No.
I saw it yesterday. You can screenshot the look of any look on your Instagram, but you have to have the application, and then you upload that screenshot to the application, and that application shows you all alternatives of that look,
right? Whatever
it is, like your outfit or my outfit.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
The way we consume product is just so different now. It's not like going into a store, going into a retail store and finding something that you like. It's really a process of really encountering brand and product through so many different applications. yeah, we see so much imagery every day that it's really is processing that and, you know, turning that into how you purchase product.
What is your vision of fashion in the future? What are your hopes and fears? What do you think will happen?
I think we're going to continue to see that digital integration of how we shop and how we integrate product into our life. And yeah, I think it's also exciting because there's so much potential for it to really revolutionize the design process as well. As you said, there's apps like that where, yeah, it might be, at the moment it might be finding you a product, but in future it might be creating you a product. So I think that there's just huge potential in terms of, from design all the way through to how we purchase product.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a new way of couture, like renaming or reshaping the couture thing, you know, like every customer can own a couture because, as you said, if you want a suit, you can design every single detail of it. Maybe I'm thinking about maybe it can develop or evolve into that, you know, a new way of couture.
Yeah, I think, the interesting and exciting part of, the evolution of fashion as well is, like, I suppose that balance between things that are digital and things that are kind of like man-made or, done by machines, and that which is done through handcraft and, through product and through kind of, I suppose, things that are a little bit more traditional in craft. It's interesting to see how that will kind of marry as well.
How much do you involve technology in your fashion business, let's say? Ellery made a show, her last show was digital, you know, it could have been seen all over the world, etc. Brands are digitalizing in their fashion shows. Are you planning on something like that, or, you know?
I think there's still something really important about a physical fashion show, and I think that there is still, it's the same thing as really kind of looking at a photo of an artwork and going into a gallery and experiencing something. I think it's still really important to have that connection with something, and you know, there's so much fashion these days. There's so much that happens that I think kind of being there and experiencing something in that environment is still really important. I definitely think the digital presence of a fashion show is always going to be greater than what is physically experienced. But I still think the industry is about relationships and the people that do support you and the people who really do kind of help build your brand with you. And I think that relationship is really built through those experiences and through special moments like fashion shows.
Okay, sorry, I think I'm going to go blind.
Margiela, there was a designer that I've always kind of admired and felt that was really intelligent and clever in so many ways.
What drives you when you're designing? What are you influenced? What are your influences?
I think they change all the time, but for me, there is always like a sculptural element to what I'm interested in doing, or an interesting kind of fabric technique. I think I suppose what I'm motivated by is trying to do something that feels signature to myself and feels like, I suppose, not anyone else's idea. I think that's the really hard thing for a designer to do, is to kind of find something that you feel no one has really, or doesn't look like someone else's work, but still feels very authentic to you. I think whenever I'm looking at a collection of my own, it's how can I kind of communicate my brand and be myself in a new way that really connects with the customer.
That is a decision, right? You know, following another brand's style, which we see a lot in these couple of years, like the Gucci and Wisman influence, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, keeping your own style and, you know,
Yeah.
just stick onto it.
Yeah, it's hard. In
It's
a
hard,
sense,
yeah.
it's balancing those two things because you know the market does shift in different
have to sell.
directions, and yeah, I mean there's always like a trend and what's popular and you know what feels relevant at a certain time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important for a designer to always kind of like keep within their DNA. You can kind of touch on trends and yeah, it might be this season a trench coat's really popular and yeah, without needing to emulate someone else's design, you can still work into what feels relevant and do it in your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the, I'm going to name two brands, but you know, they're top right now, the Gucci and Balenciaga. I think yesterday there was an article that said Balenciaga took over the Gucci's whole, you know, hotness over. There's like a war right now between the two of them and this, you know, whole crazy thing going on. What do you think about it?
I suppose it's all happened very quickly, and anything that happens with such immediacy, you kind of question the longevity of a trend.
Like it's going to shift immediately to another.
Yeah, well, I think with Gucci it was just so, it was, yeah, it was just so hyped and so, you know, like everywhere.